So as many of you guys know, the Clippers are down 2-0 to the Mavericks, and the question many people are asking is if the Clippers can win this series. In today's video, I'll just be talking about it, and yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. So let's just get into it straight up. So the first thought I have is, I don't know if the Clippers can come back just because Kawhi had 41 and they still lost. Luka Doncic is just destroying them. And honestly, it's going to be interesting because if the Clippers can win 2 in Dallas, I think that's how they win this series. I don't think they can win this series coming back 3-1. They're just not that type of team to be able to do that. Luka Doncic torched them in this game. Luka had like 39 in game 2. He had 31, I think, in game 1. And honestly, the biggest problem is Ivica Zubac, and I'll be talking about that later in the video. But Zubac, in my opinion, is a problem. He's just getting abused, and honestly, I don't know, man. It's just like when you have Zubac out on the court, when you have Serge Ibaka. I mean, that's why you got Serge Ibaka, right? So why is Serge Ibaka playing like 0 minutes in this game? I think Serge Ibaka only played like, let me check. He only played like 13 minutes, which is just ridiculous, man. I can't fathom like I don't know what Tyronn Lue's doing, man. I honestly don't. Because if you really think about it, Serge Ibaka is one of the best defenders. He only played 6 minutes. So Serge Ibaka, he's one of the best defenders. He's one of the best shot blockers pretty much in our league. So why is he not playing minutes? His plus minus is 8 during the playoffs. Why is he not playing minutes? Why is Zubac playing minutes? I don't even know. Zubac had 2 points. Serge Ibaka had 2 points. Zubac had, how many rebounds? He had 12 rebounds and 6 assists, fine, right? But you need scoring. Right, in this series, you need scoring. You don't need assists, especially when you have Kawhi Leonard dropping 41, Paul George dropping 28. Where's Rondo? Rondo had 7 assists. He had 4 points. It's not enough from Rondo. You also had Reggie Jackson. He had 50 points. That's fine. Marcus Morris had 9 points. You can't win a series like that when the Mavericks have multiple guys who are over 20 or over 10. They had 3 players over 20 points. Porzingis, Luka Doncic, and Tim Hardaway. So if the Clippers want to win this series, they have to just play better defense, and they need to stop switching. They need to just double team Luka Doncic, make someone else beat you. What you're doing right now is you're just switching. Man, it's just ridiculous, man. Okay, let's just take a step back here, okay? So in this game, right, Tim Hardaway Jr. has 28 points. You have to take something away. You can't play conservative. You have to take Luka Doncic away, and you have to make others beat you. Yes, they're trying to do that, and Tim Hardaway is making them pay. But be realistic here. You also have to take away Tim Hardaway. You can't leave Tim Hardaway open. Make someone else other than Porzingis, Luka Doncic, and and Tim Hardaway Jr. Sorry, make them beat you. Make Dorian Finney-Smith beat you. Make these other guys beat you. I understand the whole team is playing great basketball, but come on, man. You can't be playing like this, man. It's just unacceptable. It really is, man. It just shows you why I didn't pick the Clippers to win this series. It's just the problem with the Clippers is I initially picked them, but after game 1, I just switched my mind because if you lose game 1, it's understandable. But if you lose game 2, that shows this team does not care. They do not care, and their future does not look bright. They gave up so many picks to the Thunder, man. And if what's happening right now, Paul George made a mandate trade, Kawhi is gonna leave. If they lose in the first round, I think Kawhi's leaving. Because there's literally like, man, this is just so frustrating. I wanted the Clippers-Lakers matchup, not even because they're playing the Lakers. I just want to see who was better between LeBron and Kawhi Leonard. We won't be able to see that, but I guess we'll be able to see Luka Doncic because we all know the winner of this series is most likely going to win the next series versus the Jazz or the Grizzlies, unless Donovan Mitchell, he turns it up, I guess you say. I don't even know if he's going to play game 2. He has to play game 2. I mean, that would just be ridiculous. That would just be unbelievable if Donovan Mitchell did not play game 2. That would just be unbelievable if he did not play game 2. That would just be no. I think he's playing. He has to be playing. But anyways, we have to talk. Let's get back on task, okay? So the Clippers can win this series, but they're gonna have to take away someone else other than Luka Doncic, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Kristaps Porzingis. I know that's hard, but you can do it. You have Kawhi Leonard. You have Paul George. And honestly, if you really want to play, you can just play your best defensive line. You should just play small ball at this point. Because even if Porzingis gets these rebounds, Porzingis could go down at any time. And the Clippers need to... The Mavericks are striking right now. Because they know Porzingis can go down any second. So compared to that, the Mavericks win these games. But the Clippers also need to understand that Game 3 is a do or die. And they know it's a do or die. But they're gonna act like it's a do or die? I doubt it. Just knowing the Clippers franchise history, knowing these players, man, this is just turning into a rant. How they act as if they've accomplished something other than Kawhi Leonard, Rajon Rondo, or Serge Ibaka. Yeah, none of you have accomplished anything. Literally none of you. None of you have got to the NBA. Wait, has anyone gone to the finals? No, not that I remember of. None of you. Why are you talking like this? What makes you think like, man, last year was a disgrace and this year is more of a disgrace. They said things would change. Things are not changing, man. And like, it's just ridiculous how this happened to the Clippers, man. Hopefully they can bounce back because we all want to see that Clippers versus Lakers series. But honestly, I don't even want to see that series. If the Clippers are gonna play like this, I would care less. I'd rather have Luka Doncic versus LeBron James, man. I'd rather have that, man. I don't want to see the Clippers consistently choking in every playoffs. They don't deserve Kawhi Leonard, and they surely don't deserve Paul George, because the way they built this team looks good on paper, but they're not good when you play a playoff series against the Mavericks, play a playoff series against the Jazz. They're gonna lose these series. It doesn't matter. We all thought that they could lock down the best player on the other team, but they can't. This roster is not as good as it seems, and they're not even good on defense, which is just crazy to think. So yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. My analysis is that they cannot come back in this series, in my opinion, just because they can, but like, I don't expect them to. That's the problem. This team is just too cocky, man. They're too cocky. They just don't man. There's some things that you can't just change, and the Clippers just they get into their way every year in the playoffs. They fail to adjust. They can't adjust. It's like, oh my god, we can't adjust, bro. This is the same problem with the Bucks. Every year they run to the playoffs, the same exact problem happens. The Clippers always have one problem. It's either the scoring, the defense, or just getting the ball to your players and playmaking. Why is Reggie Jackson? Man, I know you like Reggie Jackson, but Reggie Jackson is not cutting it. Patrick Beverley should have been traded on the deadline. I don't care what anyone says. Same with Marcus Morris. Should have been traded on the deadline. Man, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, man. This just shows you that, like, the Clippers, they haven't learned. They haven't learned. They legit have not learned. They legit have not learned, man. It's just sad, man. I'm speechless, bruh. I'm honestly speechless. There's nothing you can say but just say they're just choking. They're flat out choking. They're choking. Man, they're literally choking. The Clippers may be one of the best teams in the regular season, but when it comes down to the playoffs, this team just chokes. I mean, like, what are you doing? Like, how is this even possible? Your team has like 4 great defenders. You could also add in 5 with Rondo, I guess. How are you giving up 39 to Luka Doncic? How is this possible? How? Isn't Kawhi Leonard a better defender than LeBron James? Isn't Kawhi Leonard a better defender than the guys who shut down Luka Doncic? Isn't Kawhi Leonard a better... Okay, let's talk. Okay, so here's my problem, okay? How did Ben Simmons lock down Kawhi? How did Ben Simmons lock down Luka Doncic, okay? He locked him down. This is just straight up, he locked him down, okay? Why did he lock him down? Because he actually had effort. Kawhi Leonard can do the same thing that Luka Doncic can. People are just... I know he looks injured, but that's not a good excuse, man. It's just not a good excuse. So, if the Clippers want to win this series, they have to act like they want to win the series. Not even act. They have to want to win the series. They have to show they want to win the series. They don't need to act it. They have to show us. Because if they don't, man, Kawhi could be leaving. Paul George could demand a trade. This whole team could be removed. And when the stadium comes, I think next year or the year after that, you won't have Kawhi Leonard or Paul George on the opening day of that stadium. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine when, what is his name? Steve Ballmer, remember that press conference when they got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, but they're talking about like, oh, blah, 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 about the Clippers, and then they talked about like some sort of stadium. Remember that? Yeah, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George won't be there for the opening day of that stadium. They won't be there. They just won't. Because they're going to demand, Paul George may not demand a trade. I don't think Paul George will. He might. And if Paul George does demand a trade, you're not going to get anything. You think you're going to get a lot for, hey man, you're probably not going to get a lot. You're not going to get the same amount of value you got for the Paul George trade back in 2018-19. You have tanked Paul George's value somehow. You have made Paul George into a meme. Man. So I think the Clippers can win the series. It's just they have to show us that they actually care. Like this is just ridiculous. But who do I have winning the series? I have the Mavericks winning the series. Honestly, I just can't see how the Clippers stop Luka Doncic. They have to switch their game plan, which they won't switch their game plan. I don't know why. So I think the Clippers can win this series, but I think the Mavericks gonna win the series. So what do you guys think in the comment section below? Let me know if I missed anything, and let me know if I said anything incorrectly, if I said stuff that's not true. Obviously, you know, I think I'm like a good, I don't know, analyst. I'm not really an analyst. I'm just someone who watches basketball. So I really don't know if I'm like saying anything that's like stupid, but I think I'm pretty right, just because like when you watch it, it just looks annoying. It's just annoying for me to watch the Clippers every year in the playoffs. Just, you know, they just lose they lose every year. They can't even. Anyways, so that's the end of the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I might be starting a Twitch, so if I do start a Twitch, you guys will know. You guys will see it in the description. Probably be the first link. And I guess you can follow my Instagram. I don't really care. So yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's your boy Melkai, and I'm out. Peace out.